quick question for you. How financially secure do you feel? Or how financially insecure do you feel? This first law of gold that we're going to talk about today might be the reason why you feel either one, either secure or insecure. So stay tuned, hit that like button, and let's get right into it. Hey everyone, Kadeem here. Now we're going to talk about the first law of gold today from The Richest Man in Babylon. If you haven't read the book before, go ahead and pick up a copy and read the book. The first law says that gold cometh gladly and in increasing quantity to any man who will put by not less than 1/10 of his earnings to create an estate for his future and that of his family. How often have you been in a situation where something happened, you broke your phone, God forbid you got into a car accident, some expense popped up and you had to go and cover that expense, but you didn't necessarily have anything in the bank account. You didn't necessarily have anything in investments. You didn't have anything tangible to go ahead and cover that expense that popped up. What you have to do? Maybe borrow against your credit card. How often has that happened for you? Because there's a reason why it's happening. I would say this law of gold, would help you to overcome that. Just the habits that come from it. If you put down a 10% of every single dollar that you earn, here's what I'd like you to do. Go back, let's just say within the last 5 years, right? 5 years. How much have you made? How much have you been paid over the course of the last 5 years? Now take 10% of that. If you had that right now, that 10% sitting in your bank account, sitting in your investments, how would you feel? You'd probably feel pretty good. If you had that extra 10% sitting in your bank account right now, you probably feel pretty good. That financial insecurity that you feel would likely be dissipated. You would no longer be financially insecure because you'd have a sense of financial security, knowing that if this phone breaks, I don't have to go and swipe my credit card and rack up debt. I can just take a little bit from here if I need to and go ahead and get that new phone. If the car bumper breaks, right, I got to get a new bumper. No problem. We got it covered. If you had that 10% put down, if you've been putting down 10% of every single dollar that you earn, how financially secure would you feel? That financial insecurity you feel right now would likely be gone. And that does a few things. One, it helps again with your mental stress. It alleviates that. You've lifted a huge weight off of your shoulders. You no longer have that sense of financial stress. But also it does something else for you. It allows you to dream. It allows you to see further down the road because you know that this 10%, by the way, you put down this 10%, this is the 10% you're not going to touch. This is the 10% that's long term. As I said, or as he says in the book, for your future and that of his family. So it's not for you to touch when the phone breaks. It's not for you to touch when the car breaks. However, you can set up something separately for that called an emergency fund. This 10% that he's referring to in the book, this is the 10% that's for your future family, not future as in tomorrow, your future as in 30 plus years down the road. If you take out of that account, you are stealing not only from your future self, but you're stealing from your family, your future family. That's why it's so important to have that consistency and put down that 10%. And that 10% may not seem like a lot. However, again, if you go back to that example like I told you earlier, out of the past 5 years, take everything that you earned, take 10% of that. If you had that extra amount in your bank account right now, you probably feel a little bit differently than you do right now. And we're only talking about 5 years. We're not talking about the last 10, 15, 20 years. Because if you're supposed to be saving 10% of every single dollar you earn, there's a formula he gives in the book. 10% for your future and your family's future, 20% to pay off debts. And really we should be eliminating our debts so that 20% doesn't even need to go towards debt anymore. And 70% for lifestyle, food, clothing, housing, so on. If you follow that, how much different could your life look? If you just stick to that, how much different would you feel? What type of vacations would you be going on? How would you be living? How would your bank account look? How would your investment account look? If you've been doing that for the past 10 years, 5 years, 15, 20 years, you may honestly not be at the current job you're at. You may not need it because you've been following this diligently, saving 10% for the future to the point where now you can take let's say you can take some of that 10% to get an investment, obviously with the idea in mind to replenish it, right? You can get an investment property from that 10%, whatever it is, to increase your cash flow. And now you can replenish that 10% and continue paying that 10% all the while, because it's for you. It's for your future, rather, not for you, but it's for your future and your family. So you can use it when the good opportunities come your way, as long as you're going to replenish it. But the whole idea is to get yourself into the habit of, again, here's that 10%, here's that it doesn't even belong to you. Here's that 10%. I make $100, $10 goes down. I make $1,000, $100 goes down. I make $10,000, $1,000 goes down. That is the way that this law works. And you know what's so crazy about this first law of gold? I can attest to it. I can definitely attest to it. Because when you start to save, you start to invest, right? Years ago when I started doing it, it was a different feeling. It was no longer paycheck to paycheck. Now you watch it, you can see it growing. You can see the investments growing for you, interest growing. You put in 6,000, but you're at, who knows, you're at 7,000. You put in 10,000, but you're at 12. The idea is not to touch it. Keep that in mind. Disclaimer, don't touch it. However, that money is there and it belongs to the future you. As long as you continue doing what you're doing, staying diligent, you will have a different lifestyle. And not only will you have a different lifestyle, but your family will have a different lifestyle. However, if you take from that account, you are robbing your family. You are robbing your future self. You are robbing your children. And they say money brings money. The more you're able to accumulate, the more money will come to you. Hence the law. Gold cometh gladly and in increasing quantity to any man or woman who will put by not less than 1/10 of their earnings. Sounds pretty simple, right? Einstein said it best. The eighth wonder of the world is compound interest. He or she who understands it earns it. He or she who doesn't pays it. When you're putting your money away for this length of time, you're allowing it to compound over time. Compound interest in the right vehicles. It's compounding for you and growing for you, and you don't even realize it until 10 years down the road. You look at it, you're like, whoa, when did I save that 30,000? When did I save that 50,000, 100,000? It's because of the little bits that you've been putting into it. Every little bit adds up, plus the interest you're getting on top of it. So again, gold cometh gladly and in increasing quantity to anyone who will put by not less than 1/10 of their earnings to create a estate for their future and that of their family in the right vehicles. This is one way to create generational wealth. Now, I didn't want to get biblical. However, if you are a good steward of what you've been given, more will be given unto you. Hence, again, the law, an increase in quantity. If you are a good steward, if you are putting things in the places that they need to be put, 70% here, 10% here, 20% over here, and you continue doing that over a course of time, more will come your way. And you will likely want to acquire more by doing the right activities, because you see how much your accounts are growing by, and it's a good feeling seeing your accounts grow. Versus you get the paycheck, $3,000 for the month, and it's gone before it even comes in. I know this paycheck is going all towards bills. This one's for the car bill. This one's for the rent, whatever it is. That's not a good feeling. And trust me, I'm speaking from experience. That's not a good feeling. But when you get on that other side, it's a great feeling. Whatever it is, there's a lot of different strategies out there. Follow a strategy. See how it works for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be this one, though I highly recommend it. Follow a strategy. Because if you don't have a strategy, those who fail to plan to fail. It's that simple. Figure out a strategy that works for you. Not that's easy for you, but stretch yourself a little bit. A strategy that works for you and follow it, right? And again, I highly recommend it. The Richest Man in Babylon, George S. Clason. So that's the first law of gold. We'll be back next week with the second law of gold. Everybody, Kadeem here. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay blessed.